Hey, Rob Mug World Entertainment. And of course, one of the questions that's been doing the rounds now for a while is when are we going to get James Gunn's take on Batman with, of course, Brave and the Bold? And the rumour came out a month ago or something that they were eyeing a 2028 release date, which never made sense, being the fact that Matt Reeves' Batman is coming out in 2027, and do you really want to have two Batman films that close to one another? Probably not. But Gunn has now responded to the report that Brave and the Bold is eyeing a 2028 release date. So let's see what he confirms or denies, or what he says basically. So it's been nearly 3 years since DC Studios announced its Chapter 1 Gods and Monsters slate. And as we write this, James Gunn and Peter Safran still haven't found the DCU's Batman. Following multiple delays, Matt Reeves' The Batman Part 2 is finally taking shape and will begin shooting in a few months from now. However, that's an Elseworlds project and won't be connected to movies like Superman and Clayface, which is probably to its benefit. So, Gunn has repeatedly said that he struggled to figure out what the DCU's Dark Knight will look like. Something which, by the way, that's not as in the physical appearance of the character. He's talking about like the world it'll be in, how the character operates, that type of stuff is what he means by the look of it. So something which surely hasn't been helped by having Reeves' critically acclaimed franchise to compete with. For now, Andy Muschietti remains attached to direct The Brave and the Bold from a script by an unnamed writer. That writer does have a name. That writer is James Gunn. So earlier today, an exciting update surfaced online courtesy of Dread Central. Now, what this is about to write is what the other folks wrote a while back. Like, I'm pretty sure it was My Time to Shine and someone else, not Daniel Richman. But they said this: hearing the screenplay is finished for Andy Muschietti's new Batman film, The Brave and the Bold, and that Warner Brothers is looking at a 2028 release, the site wrote on X. So congratulations, you wrote something that's nearly a month old at this stage. So it didn't take DC Studios co-CEO James Gunn long to debunk it though, as he took to trades to respond: fiction, sorry, screenplay isn't finished. So he's admitting there that they're not even finished the screenplay, which means they're probably not even halfway into it. Because as I've said before as well, how's he going to focus on that when all of his focus and attention right now has shifted over to Man of Tomorrow? So this continues saying, it's always interesting to see what the Man of Tomorrow helmer does and does not weigh in on. For example, while he's remained silent on those Wonder Woman rumours, he did respond to a fan who asked about reports that, wait to hear this, the Batman Part 2 had a test screening last year. So Gunn wrote, that would be strange since the movie hasn't started production. Now that's the first time I've heard that one. I don't ever recall hearing someone saying, hey, the Batman Part 2 already had a test screening. It's like, how could you have a test screening to a film that hasn't even shot? So he immediately debunked that. He has debunked parts of the Wonder Woman stuff. I just can't quite remember exactly which parts. I think the part he debunked was the casting announcement for this month, but didn't debunk that the character herself wouldn't appear in Man of Tomorrow. So while it's hard to fault DC Studios for taking its time to do right by the DCU's Batman, fans growing increasingly frustrated is understandable. It surely shouldn't be this hard to tell a Caped Crusader story, and at this rate, a Wonder Woman movie may arrive before The Brave and the Bold. As for Muschietti's continued involvement with the reboot, that remains divisive in no small part because of the mixed response to The Flash in 2023. What mixed response? There was no mixed response, it was outright hated. Critics had mixed responses because some critics tried to say it was fantastic while everyone else said it sucked. The movie made, like, I don't even think it hit 200 million. That's how bad it did. That's not a mixed response, that's outright hatred for it. So The Brave and the Bold doesn't have a confirmed release date. So he is now confirming that no, this movie is not going to start filming this year or next year at this rate, and that it most certainly will not be coming out in 2028. So that's straight away off the table. So we could be looking at a 2029, 2030 release date for Brave and the Bold, which is insane to think that he started his DCU pretty much 3 years ago. That's when he took charge of the whole thing. That's when he announced that slate and everything else, which, don't forget, Batman was the 6th thing announced on that list. Remember that. It was Creature Commandos, Superman, The Authority, Supergirl, Lanterns, I think, or no, Paradise Lost, and then Brave and the Bold. That's the way that list went, if you remember. So he was never in that much of a rush to actually get Batman in there, which is ridiculous. And of course, that whole slate has changed now, you know. The Authority was scrapped and half this stuff is scrapped. Paradise Lost seems to be absolutely nowhere at this stage. All of this stuff, Lanterns is being delayed, possibly for reshoots. We don't quite know why it's being delayed. All of this stuff. Supergirl will be the next movie out, and then Clayface will be the one following that later this year. I think that's meant to be coming out around September or October time. So Batman really doesn't seem to be a priority for him, and he really does seem to be focusing completely on the whole Superman stuff, which people were saying he's shifting his focus to Superman, the Superman saga, and only that because he knows his time is pretty much up at Warner Brothers. So whether that is the case or not, we don't know. He has constantly spoken about how he cannot crack the character of Batman, which immediately is why you say, don't write it then. Give it to someone who can write it. Like this idea of, oh, I can't crack it. It's like, so give it up then. Give it to someone who can. That's meant to be the point. He's meant to be the head of this place. He's meant to be giving these things to other creators. And that was one of the things he said when he took over DC is, I can't wait to work with all these creators and seeing what their visions are for this. And so far, out of all the things that are coming, we're going to get one thing so far that he didn't direct, which is Supergirl. Yet he's still clearly involved because it's the most James Gunn looking movie without him actually directing the bloody thing. So keep that in mind as well. Like, he made, created and worked on Creature Commandos. He obviously wrote and directed Superman. He's wrote and directed Peacemaker Season 2. He's writing and directing Man of Tomorrow. So out of all the things right now that we're going to get, this year we're getting so far 2 things on the big screen that aren't James Gunn directed or written, which is Clayface and Supergirl. But he still has obviously a lot of influence in Supergirl. Don't know about Clayface yet because we've seen really nothing other than those behind the scenes images. So his whole focus is nowhere near Batman, and the fact that I can't crack it and he's not willing to hand it over to someone who could, it tells you everything you need to know. But as of now, he has flat out debunked that the movie will be coming out in 2028. So according to him, they don't even have a finished script yet, or screenplay, which isn't even the script. So it's a hell of a long way away so far. So what do you guys think? Does this surprise you? Does it not surprise you? Do you think he won't be able to crack it? And do you think he will actually let his ego move out of the way and let someone who can actually crack Batman come in and write the thing? Let me know what your thoughts are on all of this. And with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So do like, share, subscribe and all that good stuff. Cheers, and I shall catch you in the next one.